Mark, we just watched Donegal draw with Kerry. What are your initial impressions of that? Is it one that you were lucky to salvage a point or left behind?
I think you could look at it probably both ways, and it could have been either one. Hey, I thought if you give Donegal a point coming up here today, I think with all the players we're missing, like we looked at Neil McGee, Paddy McGrath, Owen Ban, obviously they got the injury that has him out for the year, and we lost Jason McGee very early on. I think Donegal would have just grasped it off your hand for that point. But saying that, they showed real determined, and there's boys that came in there today that showed real grit. I thought maybe at the very end Michael Murphy had a chance. I know he tapped the ball over the bar, but Ryan could have tapped the ball over the bar. But he laid it off to Murphy. I think he wanted the goal. We could have finished it there and then. But yeah, listen, Kerry had goal chances the first half they didn't take. So overall, probably draws a fair result. But it doesn't make any nerve-wracking go down to Castlebar.
Like, over the years you've been playing, what's it like watching it? Because, you're still, late 20s or whatever, probably part of you could still be out there, but it must be nervy watching.
It's nervy watching, obviously, because you've somebody so close with Ryan involved, and I know them boys, so well, like, a lot of them are my best friends, a lot of my club men out there today. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking. It's the first time, I've been working actually in the media, doing co-com, that the game's actually so tight. Every other game I played Donegal, the game was over, so it wasn't nerve-wracking, But today, I don't know, I'm still catching my breath, to be honest with you, because it must have been a great game for the neutral spectator to watch for your perspective, because it was exciting stuff there towards the end.
Oh yeah, for the neutrals, fantastic game. Like when you see Ryan getting on the ball, I mean, in the past I watched my brother playing at this stage, and I suppose I was more cornerback, closer to goal, one mistake and the game's over, or there's going to be a goal scored. How nervy do you get?
I don't get nervous when Ryan gets on the ball, because I know him. I played with him that long at club level, and he's so good in the ball, and I don't get nervous. I know he's not going to lose the ball, and I think even you look at the Donegal supporters today. Every time he got on the ball today, you had that excitement because they knew something was going to happen. I think majority of the time when he got the ball today, something did happen. Shane. In the first half, I know he scored 2 points himself, but he made other scores. He won 2 frees. I thought he was all over the field today, and that's trying not to be biased there as much as he can, but I'm sure the neutral will watch it and say the same thing. Like.
Yeah, for sure. And what about Michael Murphy then? So he scored, what was it, something like 1-7 and 1-3 from play as well. Another massive performance.
I thought obviously the penalty was a huge score, and he disposes that very, very easy. But I thought the 2 frees, I think they were probably around 50 yards out. They were carbon copy of each other, and they were massive frees. Not every free taker was going to kick them. They sailed over the bar, and at that stage Donegal really needed them scores. And so listen, what hasn't been said about Michael Murphy, that's the leader he is. He's phenomenal. He's a phenomenal free taker and a phenomenal player. When Donegal really, really need him, even last week against Meath, when they needed him, he came to the fore and stepped up. And no more so than today. Listen, everything's been said about Michael Murphy. There's no point in me sitting here chatting about him. But what he brings to that team, the young lads have come in, they see the way he lives his life. They see the way that he performs. What do you need to do to be a Donegal player? So they know no different when they come into that setup and see people like Michael Murphy and even Neil McGee to an extent, and Frank McGlynn. Boys have been there. This is the way. This is life for them. So they know no difference. It's not coming into a setup where I'm not saying it's flimsy enough. They know what they want to be on this panel or on this squad. They have to live the life exactly the way they live the life, and that rubs off on all the players, and hence the reason Donegal's been so successful the last number of years. All down to him. And
was it like that when you came in from the get-go and you were a young player? Was that impressed upon you straight away by him?
It was. I came into the senior squad in 2010 under Joe. Now, we didn't do so well that year, but McGuinness took over and Murphy was made captain. It's a big call for a manager to make somebody 22 years of age. I think he was made captain of Donegal. It just shows the quality of the person he is. Not even the footballer, it's the person he is. But yeah, exactly that's the way. It was. Well, back then it probably was McGuinness's way, and Murphy would have learned a lot himself, and how to deal with younger people coming in. But it's rubbed off in Donegal. How many Ulsters have we won in this last number of years? And
well, he's been captain for 5 of 10 in your history.
5 of 10 in history. It speaks volumes, speaks for itself. So Donegal, I think Eamon McGee put out a tweet after one game. We were very lucky that Michael Murphy's father was stationed in Donegal because, he's an unbelievable player, and he's a really good lad off the field as well.
And were you impressed by anyone else today? I thought Stephen McManaman for long spells did very well, and David Clifford.
Clifford was partly anonymous, really, till he came and kicked the score in the second half, and I was worried about that because Stephen was put on Gareth McKiernan in the Cavan game, and he was put on. And he struggled a wee bit with him, that size, and Clifford's that size as well, a bigger lad. So, to be fair, from the get-go, McManaman was in his ears. Stephen, he's a tough bit of stuff. He's a boy I would always say you go to war with.
Right.
If you're going to war tomorrow morning, you'd give him a call. But like Neil McGee would be in his heyday. But Stephen has that. He has that ability. He's a good footballer. He's a real hardy bit of stuff. And maybe he just got into Clifford's head a wee bit today because it wasn't the David Clifford we've seen all year. Which was a wee bit worrying for the fact that he wasn't so prominent today for Donegal against Donegal, and we only drew the match. But who else was I impressed with? Paddy McBurdy looked very, very good first half. There's a lot of early on he was nervous. He was kicking balls that he wouldn't. He was off balance nearly for them, and he shouldn't have kicked them. But he kicked big scores. He kicked big scores, kicked big frees, and he got other players involved in the game. Oisín Gallen and Michael Lang in the second half. They were 4 big scores, 2 each. Oisín Gallen came on, really set a tone for the second half. Kicked a lovely score here down under us. And then Michael Lang nearly the carbon copy of each other, just stood. But that was that loop past Donegal weren't doing that enough in the first half. They were kicking the ball into Paddy and Jamie, and they were winning it, but there was no runners coming off them. Once they started doing that, that got that's where you miss, in my opinion, Owen Ban so much, because he was the boy that was coming off the shoulder. Paddy McGrath to an extent would be doing that as well, coming off the shoulders. Even though he's cornerback, he comes up and that brings everybody else with you. If you see Paddy McGrath run past you, you're saying, oh God, I should be running as well. And that they're the wee things that come into mind. Also, Donegal, I thought in the second half needed to be a wee bit more patient. They kicked a lot of stupid ball and didn't wait for that loop. Ran the ball. Ryan did it excellent for Oisín Gallen to score here. Ran down, just waited for Oisín Gallen to come in the loop, and he cut back inside. I think it was Dara Boyle kicked 2 balls into Paddy Birdie, wrong balls just. And that was around a nervy time for Donegal where they needed settling down. They needed somebody with a bit of composure and leadership, and that's when the boys stepped up.
Jamie Brennan has been more or less up there with your player of the year so far up to today. Tom O'Sullivan probably seemed to do more damage on him going the other way, scored a point as well. What do you think happened with Jamie today?
I think it was just one of those days that nothing went right for you. Every footballer, every sports person has them days in their career. Even at the very end, he had an easy score off his left foot to tap the ball over the bar and it went wide, and he just knew it just wasn't his day. Now he worked a Trojan. He won the free at the end that Murphy kicked. He won another free that he went down over. He no need to go for the ball at all, and he went down over. He got hit both times for it. And to be fair to him, he really, really tried his best. Just nothing came off.
He actually even made the burst for Owen McHugh's disallowed goal, and then it was put across. He got a touch. I think
it was a wee touch because Owen lost the track of the ball. Now we've seen it in the replay. He lost the track. Now Owen should have done that. Say, just caught the ball and buried it.
Yeah.
Now he could have been called for a square ball too. You just don't know. But what he did was kind of it was a heat of a moment thing. We all have mistakes, and he just kind of threw the ball in, and the ref maybe made a right call. Donegal will be happy. Definitely be happy today. Coming up,
it's probably first place gone, or a chance of first place, so it means that if you do beat Mayo, more than likely you'll assume Kerry will beat Meath. It's going to mean Dublin in All-Ireland semi-final, so that's 2 huge games to come, assuming you beat Mayo.
Wait a minute though, hey, are you assuming Dublin are going to beat Tyrone and Omagh?
Yes.
You're assuming? We're probably assuming that, but I'm telling you, I just watched that game. Hey, that could be a tricky one for Dublin. They went down there. Was it last year? They went.
Yeah, won by a point there last year.
That was in just by a point. Tell you, just don't rule out Tyrone winning that game, and you never know. You could end up Tyrone to top the table. We finished second. We played Tyrone in the semi-final. But listen, you're going to have to beat Dublin at some stage if you're going to win on Ireland.
Yeah.
There's no point, waiting maybe to a final. If they play them, we take Dublin in an Ireland semi-final right now, hands down. Because that means we're in an Ireland semi-final. Simple as that.
I'm getting very carried away with myself.
I think you are. I don't know these people up here in Leinster. Hey, but if we get a chance in an Ireland semi-final, we take it. Now it's going to be. I think even looking back in last year, the game in Ballyfay, Tyrone and Donegal, which was, I was involved in that game. The atmosphere for that was crazy. It was talked about for 2 weeks. It's the exact same as this game. To be honest with you, even though the Dublin Tyrone game will be talked about slightly, it'll be all about Donegal Mayo and who's going to down in Castlebar in 2 weeks. There's going to be some battle down there.
Do you miss being out there?
You miss being out here, definitely. Yeah. You'd be a fool if you no one. I'm playing reasonably good football with my club at the moment like that. But that was my decision. The boys asked me back a few times that in September. I just had enough at the time, for time-wise and stuff like that. I miss, like everybody, I miss these days, and I miss the Ulster final day. Monday to Saturday, I don't miss, and I have no regrets over that because, it was taking up so much of your life. It was, I'm not saying, coming towards last year, I wasn't getting probably enough game time that I felt myself maybe I should have given them more, being selfish in that sense. But yeah, it was a decision I had to make, and I'm happy enough with it. I'm enjoying going watching the games here now, doing a bit of work and stuff like that. But you may, obviously, who wouldn't miss these days if you can still think you can throw on a pair of boots like. The Monday to Saturday was tough. Where we live in Kilcar, it's you're looking about an hour and a half to train, drive every day, and an hour and a half back. So that's 3 hours out of your day completely before you even do anything.
You have a young child as well.
I have a young child, and I have a wee business there in Letterkenny myself as well. So it's life moves on. I'm probably fortunate enough. Again, I'm being probably a wee bit selfish. I have that All-Ireland medal. I have a few Ulster medals, and the one that we're lucky enough again to win a county medal from the club 2 years ago, and we're really focusing on one or maybe another one of them, and maybe looking forward for Kilcar in the next few years. I'm totally happy. I don't know would I make a difference down there today either. Like so, if I felt at the time maybe I just wasn't good enough at and step away. You must these days obviously, but I'm happy enough where I'm at.
And how old are you now?
I'm 20 and 29 now next month. So
yeah. It does feel like you're kind of ruling out more or less the idea of going back at any point.
I think so. As I said, that was one of the decisions I had to make. Probably when I decided, when I told Declan, I just probably had enough. I've been thereabouts for 9-10 years now, and it's a long time in anybody's life. So when I made that decision, I'm probably saying, that'll be me in Donegal. But you never know. You never can tell. As I said, I'm playing good club football at the minute. We'll see when next year comes around. But at the minute, I'm happy enough going sporting Donegal all over the country as I can. I've watched them. I didn't miss many league matches this year. We're going to watch them, and I've seen every match in the championship so far. I love football. I love chatting about it and everything like that. But that bit of pressure that you're under maybe when you're a county footballer, it's just taken off, and it's a bit of a relief at the end of the day.
What difference do you think Stephen Rochford has made this year? Because when things started going well and you win Ulster, everyone talks about him being basically the missing link this year, or just bringing him on that next level. Whereas in a couple of the previous years when he was with Mayo, he almost got derided at times when he made big calls like putting Aidan O'Shea full back, etc., which actually worked as it happened, by the way.
Putting Henley in goals as well, wasn't that one as
well?
Yeah,
he got a lot of criticism for that.
He did. It's funny, firstly, I think it was an unbelievable call by Declan Bonner to make, because to take someone in of Rochford calibre, and he was a number one for Mayo, to take him in as a number two, because to be fair to Declan, if things had gone wrong, Declan was going to still get the blame, and if things go right, then like people have been saying, maybe it's stayed in Rochford. Yeah. So, but Declan had the balls to make that call, and fair play to him, because not many managers I think would have did that, because it takes the spotlight off them a bit. But it's funny. It was after the Ulster final, and I was doing a bit of work, and I ended up interviewing Hugh McFadden actually. Don't ask me how that happened, but I did. And I asked him. I just said, "Listen, I was involved the last few years, but the one thing I haven't seen is Stephen Rochford. What has he brought to the table?" And he answered very, I thought, very honestly, and I could understand what he meant. Stephen Rochford came up. He had no agendas with any players. He had no history with any players, and he didn't know any players. He didn't know the club scene in Donegal. He didn't know. He didn't know the ins and outs of, say, the subs. He would have analysed, obviously, a few of the Donegal players for playing against Mayo, but he didn't know the whole strength of depth. So when he came up, it was a fresh thing. And however good you were in training, and what he saw of you in training, that's what he's seen of you. Yeah. So, and that's the way probably sports should be played. If you're really playing well in training, there's no loyalty, there's no nothing when it comes to, you don't have a history. Maybe some managers, manage a club team back and say 5 years ago, and he was very good at your club, so I have a bit of loyalty to him or something like that. There's none of that with Stephen Rochford, and that's what Hugh answered me. And to be fair, it makes a very valid point because with Stephen Rochford's season training seems to be, what's going on, what goes out in the field.
And there's no suggestion of because obviously one Mayo are in Connacht and Donegal are in Ulster. There's none of that kind of neighbourly rivalry whereby it'd almost be like if Rochford went to Galway, he'd almost be scorned for it. There's none of that with Mayo.
No, there probably wasn't. But listen, Mayo's probably been one of our bigger rivals the last, say, 8-9 years, and we have met them in a lot of times at quarter-final stages. At obviously the 2012 final. It's been nip and tuck. Even they came up to the league. They came up in the league, the last game of the league last year, and we ended up drawing. We needed to win the game to stay up. They ended up drawing with us. So
McLaughlin had a nice few steps that day.
He had about 12 or 13, if I can remember. Hey, but no, Shane. Listen, I know what you're saying about the Galway thing. I think if Stephen Rochford came up maybe to take the number one job, they might have been, why is he leaving his home company? But he seems to be football mad. Stephen Rochford. He was available. Declan Bonner had every right to ask him, and as I said, it took big guts to take on a man like that with the calibre of Stephen Rochford. Because if you look around the country, there's not many managers who have done it, and I have to take my hats off to Declan Bonner for that.
Do you think in this game the fact that Neil McGee was out injured, Owen Bond was out injured, there was injuries, very definitely injuries on Donegal's side. Do you think David Moran being out offset that, especially in light of how he played against Mayo? Listen, we watched them last week. I thought the three players last week was Clifford, Stephen O'Brien and David Moran. David Moran and Stephen O'Brien, especially around the middle, controlled the whole game. He's a huge player for them. I'm not exactly sure now of any word what exactly is wrong with David Moran, but it was a huge loss because if you looked at Donegal's team, Hugh McFadden drops back straight away, so that you're already taking out a midfielder. So Kerry dominated the midfield last week, and if that would have happened, you'd assume they would have dominated the thing. What was interesting was Kerry went total short kick out them. Because they were, David Moore maybe wasn't there and he was the go-to man. They totally went short kick out. Donegal was all, I don't think there was a long kick out kicked in the first half at all. There was a few Patton hit in the second half. I think one to Kieran Thompson hit on the Paddy McBride here. But it might have changed. I'm sure Kerry might have known during the week that he wasn't playing, and that's what they'd worked on, because to completely change a style of play on the day of the game wasn't what happened. So it looked like they knew what they were doing. But yeah, you can look in hindsight and say if he was there would have been different. But no, I think we ended up having a really good game. And it's funny, I'll give you a good stat here. I actually just looking through the programme before the game. Donegal and Kerry played each other 5 years ago in the All Ireland final. It was only 5 years ago, right? Only 2 players from the Donegal team started the day. Only 3 players from the Kerry team started the day. Yeah, McBurty was on the bench that day, wasn't he?
Ryan McHugh and Michael Murphy was only 2 from Donegal. Yeah. And you had Paul Murphy, you had Paul Geeney, and Stephen O'Brien was the 3 from Mayo.
That's
from Kerry. That's only 5 years. If you said 10 years, 10 years, you would say, right, you don't mind a turnover. But only now, because Neil McGee didn't start, Leo McClune didn't start, Frank McGlynn, these boys were playing. I know they're on the panel, but there's 2 starting teams today. Donegal had only 2 that started 2014 final, and Kerry only 3. Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I was looking through the 2 teams at the start of the day. And
you were here for the Mayo's win over Meath as well. Did you get an impression from Mayo that last week, again, when they lost so heavily to Kerry, that was a bit of a blip and that they're somewhat back, or like they laboured for a long time here before eventually winning?
Yeah, I thought they were poor the first half. They give Meath chances, and Meath didn't take them either. I didn't watch it as closely as I watched the other game, but they kept Meath in the game for so long. And if Meath were capable of maybe taking them a few chances that they got, it could have been a different story.
Lavin ran through when it was 11 points each, and he blasted the shot from the 14 when he could have carried it all the way in.
Yeah, exactly. No, I should have got a goal. Excuse me. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Mayo give them the chances. They look very, as you said, laboured in the first half. Maybe that's coming off. We looked at Tyrone this night. They looked laboured in the first half as well. They've been on the road, 5 weeks in a row now, both teams. And maybe it takes them that while to get back in the legs. Now, both teams, as I said, Tyrone and Mayo were completely different the second halves. And the 2-week breaks come perfectly for the both of them. Now, Tyrone is ready through to a semi-final, but no, it's going to be building. like you guys in the media is just going to build this up completely over the next
Can't wait.
2 weeks. It's going to be. I think I'm down doing something in Westport on the Thursday night before that game, and it's going to be just all that's going to be talked about the next 2 weeks, isn't it?
And who do you think? Obviously, Dublin are number one side at the moment, 4 in a row champions. Won their 2 games by a combined 31 points. Who do you think is who's next in the pecking order, do you think, based on what you've seen in the Super 8s?
To be honest, I'd have to say Donegal.
Yeah.
Because Donegal drew with the Kerry team today, they're missing 3 of their starting 6 defenders, and they lost their midfielder early on. Now, I know David Moore was missing for Kerry, James O'Donnell probably another miss for Kerry, and Donegal were very depleted today. You have to admit they were depleted.
Well, Gallagher won't be back, Owen Bond, he won't be back.
No, Owen's gone. But Neil McGee and Paddy McGrath's going to be fit for the next day. I'm not sure what happened to Jason McGee.
Hamstring it seemed
to be a wee niggle on the hamstring. Hopefully it's not too much damage. He'll be in. I have a recovery room there in Letterkenny. He'll be in during the week, so I might find out a bit more. But I think Tyrone, you have to look at Tyrone as well. But I don't know, in the first half I couldn't see them come back against Cork last night in the first half. Over the move to put Matty Donnelly inside was a real game changer for Tyrone. It's funny, I think they might have had that in the locker and they didn't want to use it maybe to a semi-final or a final. Yeah. But they had to use it last night to get out of a hole. And I don't know. I think Donegal, if they had everybody available to them, now I know they don't have Owen Band, but if they had everybody available to them, I think they are the best club to play Dublin at the minute. I'm not saying they're going to beat Dublin, because I think Dublin still are on that different level. What
do you think Dublin are doing this year? Because they seem to be pulling away from the pack even again. I mean, maybe I'm wrong with that, but just
I think you're right enough. Yeah.
But you want to build them up, obviously.
I'm not building nobody up.
But what is it about them this year? Because it's not as if they've developed any new players. In previous years, it was. I don't know, Brian Howard last year, for example, or Owen Merchant before that, Conor Callahan, Fenton in midfield. They haven't found anyone new this year.
But the 4 players you're after mentioning have got so much better.
Yeah.
Brian Howard has got so much better. What game was it? The game against Cork here last week. He was extraordinary in the middle of the field, and it was Cluxton's go-to man in that game when it was nipping top, and he was unbelievable. Conor Callahan got man of the match this night. Them boys are just getting better and better. And they have such a squad, and I know what you're saying, that they haven't found anybody new, but they don't need anybody new. They're the one squad in Ireland that don't need anybody new. They have a panel of what they're even if you just say their second team, them boys are coming in, halfway through a first half, and they're giving everything because they know they need a jersey it's not even a starting jersey, they need a jersey. Like one of the things I've always said about Dublin, it's what they have to their advantage is that they're all living in Dublin, and I spoke earlier on about me having to travel an hour and a half to training. Like, that's not actually bad.
The M50's bad enough now at times.
Oh, sorry. We'll okay.
I'm only joking.
Right.
Go on.
But what I'm saying is, I would say that if you look all over the other 31 counties, and hurling included, that every team has a player living in Dublin. So they're travelling back and down, and that's not only one. Now, I remember the year Donegal was playing, we had 9 living in Dublin. We had 9, and that was maybe even the off season when the college boys weren't in college, and it's just they have, they're back maybe in their beds at 9:30, 10:15 after a night of training. They're not after travelling too far, and that's just always a wild advantage I've always said Dublin have. Now, that's nothing to do with anybody else. It's just because Dublin's the place to be. People have to work in Dublin to get good jobs and stuff like that. It's an advantage. But to answer your question, they don't need anybody new. Now, I watched their under-21 game against Laois during the week. They've players coming from all over, so I wouldn't worry too much about your pick in the next few years. Hey, but I think they still are that, at least 10, 15, 20% ahead of the rest.
From being in inter-county setups, and you would have analysed opposition to death, I suppose, or in great detail. When you look at this Dublin team, how do you think, how do you go about trying to beat them if you're Donegal this year? If you ever get to that stage, and I know you're not saying they will.
Yeah, I think, what I remember playing against Dublin and analysing them, I think most teams do, it's kick-outs is the big one. If you can put pressure on their kick-outs, and Cork did it to an extent last week. I actually we had a club league match last night, and I didn't actually get to see the Roscommon game. I watched the Tyrone game before, but I didn't get to see it yet till I get home tonight. But the Cork game, their kick-outs, when they pushed up, that's when I was saying they went looking for Brian Howard, and he was unbelievable. I thought that day himself, and I thought Fenton was unbelievable, and obviously Jack McCaffrey. But you have, listen, for years I think teams thought maybe of trying to keep Dublin's score down as much as possible, and I don't know, is that the way to go anymore? You have to outscore them. You're thinking to yourself, right, if we kept them to 10 or 12 points, you know how a defensive structure works.
Yeah.
That's not possible anymore. So you're not going to keep them to 10 or 12 points. You need to look. What the scores today was 120 apiece, was it?
Yep.
You have to be looking at that plus to beat them, and you have to go out and hope to. It's not saying a game's going to end up 18-16 or something like that. It's not going to happen against Dublin anymore. So you need to be looking at that 120. 220, maybe 218 or something like that, to be within a chance of them, because they're always going to score against you, no matter what. No matter if you have 15 men behind the ball nowadays, especially out here in Croke Park, where we're looking down, it's just so wide, they're going to score. So you need to outscore them, and just maybe where teams had in the past gone a wee bit more too defensive against them and hoping that they would limit their scores. I think that's always going to happen. So you need to get more men up the field and kick more scores.
Would you be of a mind to say press up on every single kick out, because unless it's a quick kick out, and obviously you can at that point, but do you spend more energy pushing up aggressively on kick outs, or letting them get the ball and then trying to chase them around for a couple of minutes to get it?
Yeah, it's probably a tricky one. And it kind of all depends on what time of the game you're at as well, maybe. But I think from day one you have to push up on a kick out, because I can't see the logic in giving a team 100% kick out, so you're going to take 100% attacks on you. They're going to. I just can't do it now. I've been involved in teams that we've done it and it has worked. And I remember Monaghan did it very, very successfully against us in the 2013 All Star final, where they just give us a kick out and they drop back, and we weren't probably ready for it. Nowadays, I just can't see it. But you see, the thing about pushing up, where I find even Donegal did it very well. They did it once or twice tonight, and they did it last week against Meath. Whenever we push up, the keeper can kick a long one, and the break's on, so you have nobody back. It's just a tricky one. I don't see the logic in giving a team 100% kick out, because make them kick it out. It does extract a lot of energy, but these boys are fit boys. Like anybody's playing underground football or training that much, they are fit men. They should be well fit for it. So no, I think you have to push up and kick outs, especially Stephen Clux's kick. If you can anyway try to rattle him, even for which is very hard, even for a part of a game, you might be another shout. Other than that, I'm not the man to quite answer the how do you stop the Dubs. I don't know, I'm the man, but there's different wee ways like that there. I think you have to stop Jack McCaffrey and James McCarthy running from deep as well. The damage they cause. And that's not even looking at the forwards.
Actually, now that you bring that up, would you put today? Gavin White was up against Ryan McHugh, so the two arguably fastest guys on the field on each other, and I thought it was even surprising that matchup would happen. I'm not sure which side decided.
I think Kerry decided that. Yeah.
Do you think would you try and match up Ryan with Jack to think maybe he's the best chance of someone keeping with him? Because it seems to be when Dublin are under pressure, he makes a burst and a goal comes off it, or a couple of scores come off it. He's you can't mark speed, it's very hard, but would you put Ryan on him, or would you try and put someone else on him?
Yeah, listen, you could.
But you'd lose him going the other way, possibly.
You see, you're losing one of your better players then going the other way. So I think what you have to do is you have to sacrifice probably another player. Maybe, I know for a fact, Owen McHugh, my cousin, he's probably faster than Ryan on a one-on-one race. Yeah, he might not, Owen's definitely fast. I know Owen's faster than Ryan, and make sure he knows that when you see him as well. But he might be a man. He marked Tiernan McCann against Tyrone up in Cavan this year and did a great job. And there's other boys there. You're looking at Keelan Ward is extremely fast, or McFadden Ferry. These boys, it's a real pity. It's a boy we haven't mentioned a lot, and it's Kieran Gillespie for Donegal. He obviously did the cruciate away back. If he was available for Donegal, we'd be in such a better place, in my opinion. He had a serious year for Gweedore last year, if you remember it. and obviously, you know, unfortunately he did excruciate. But he's lightning. He's the kind of buck you would put on Jack McCaffrey to see, you know, just take him on man. Now, I wouldn't like to take on Jack McCaffrey man. I was watching that first game today, and is it Killian O'Sullivan? You know, he's lightning for me. And I remember we had a challenge match one time, and geez, he gave me the roasting of almighty roasting. I couldn't just keep up with him. But that's the thing. Players are getting faster and quicker. Hey, and listen, as I said, I'm no one man to say how to beat the Dubs. Hey, that comes down to whatever management team's facing them. Hey, 4 or 5 lads to come up with different ideas. I don't think we're going to find it out here today anyway.
Cheers, Mark.
Good match, yeah.